Hello, and welcome back to Pure Stoic Truth. I want to sincerely thank you for being here. Whether you're returning or just discovering the channel, I appreciate your presence. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. This is where grounded men grow together, sharper, stronger, more unshakable. Now let's dive deep. In our last video, High-Value Men -5 Brutal Truths Women Never Say Out Loud, we explored what separates men who are simply desirable from those who are unforgettable. But what if a man isn't just high value on the outside, but emotionally aware, calm under pressure, and unmovable on the inside? That's where things start to shift. Because when a man steps into that level of presence, something unexpected happens. Not resistance, not admiration, but fear. Why do emotionally intelligent men trigger fear in women more than charm or looks ever could? What happens when a woman meets a man she cannot control, emotionally, mentally, or energetically? And what makes this type of man so rare, so grounded, that he becomes unforgettable, even haunting? Let's begin unraveling the truth behind it all. Point 1. He sees the game, but doesn't play it there. That's a certain type of man that women simply can't forget. Not because he's flashy, not because he's aggressive, but because he's unlike 99% of the men she's ever known. You see, most men fall into one of two traps. They either collapse to please, or overcompensate to impress. But the man she truly can't control, the one she quietly fears, is different. He's not just smart. He's not just emotionally open. He's sharp, calculated, centered. He doesn't panic when she pulls back. He doesn't beg when affection fades. He doesn't overreact when she goes cold. He watches. He feels the shift. He adjusts, not from fear, but from clarity. That kind of response is rare. It's not cold-hearted, it's composed. And to a woman who's used to seeing men scramble for approval, that kind of stillness is both intimidating and magnetic. She's not afraid of kindness. She's afraid of control. She can't gain. And the emotionally intelligent man, he's unbaitable. He doesn't rise to the drama. He doesn't fall for the emotional trap. Like Machiavelli once said, he who controls himself is harder to conquer than a city. In a world full of men who explode at the first test, or retreat at the first sign of tension, this kind of man stands out like fire in the dark. While others argue, justify, or explain themselves endlessly, he stays quiet, still, focused. Not because he doesn't care, but because he refuses to be dragged into emotional chaos that isn't his. And when a woman witnesses that, she doesn't see apathy. She sees power she cannot shake. And that's only the beginning. Because once you stop dancing to emotional strings, once you stop needing her reactions to validate your value, something shifts. In part 2, we'll explore the second brutal truth, one that flips the entire approval game on its head. 2. He doesn't beg for love because he's already chosen himself. In part 1, we saw how emotionally intelligent men recognize emotional games without reacting. They don't chase chaos, they stay composed. Now let's look at the next defining trait. He doesn't seek love like it's oxygen. The emotionally intelligent man values love. He welcomes it. But he's not starving for it. Why? Because he already knows his own worth. He doesn't need affection to breathe. He brings oxygen into the room by simply being present. Picture this. It's a first date. She tests him with a casual cutting remark about his career, his looks, or even his past. Most men would nervously laugh it off, hoping to keep her approval. But not him. He smiles. He pauses, then calmly says, "Interesting comment." He doesn't defend. He doesn't explain. He doesn't crumble. He moves forward confident, steady, unfazed. That quiet restraint, it's magnetic. It sends a loud message without saying much at all. I don't need your approval to feel valid. I've already chosen myself. This is where Machiavelli whispers a truth that few ever live out. He who seeks to please will always serve. The moment you anchor your identity in her opinion, you hand over the wheel. But the man who knows who he is, he doesn't need to explain himself. He doesn't argue to be understood. He doesn't dance for applause. When she throws a test his way, he doesn't take the bait. He lets it pass like wind through an open window. Why? Because he isn't trying to earn her validation. He already walks in self-approval. And women feel that instantly. While most men are busy performing, he just is. He's grounded, clear, solid. He doesn't try to be charming. He doesn't try to be liked. He shows up exactly as he is and leaves the choice in her hands. That's not arrogance. That's inner power. And that's exactly what makes him unforgettable. 3. He understands her without trying to control her. One of the most unsettling experiences for a woman who's used to emotional control is meeting a man who truly sees her. Not to judge, not to manipulate, but to understand. Picture a long-term relationship. She starts to pull back emotionally. She becomes moody, short in her replies, distant. The average man might get defensive, or worse, shut down completely. But the emotionally aware man? He remains calm. He asks gently, "Is something on your mind?" She says, "No." He nods. He doesn't push. He leaves space. Later, when the emotional storm has passed, he comes back not with judgment, but presence. No accusations, no defensiveness, just calm energy. And that disarms her. Because now she realizes she can't dominate the emotional tempo. She can't use tension to steer the conversation. He's not playing defense. He's playing chess. This kind of calm clarity is rare, and honestly, it's unsettling. Not because it's cold, but because it strips away her most used tactic, emotional confusion. The emotionally intelligent man doesn't fight chaos. He replaces it with transparency. And that kind of clarity, most people just aren't ready for it. 4. He handles conflict without raising his voice. Now, let's step into another common battlefield. Conflict. In most relationships, arguments sound like explosions. Voices rise. Accusations fly. Emotions take the wheel. But not with him. When tension builds, he lowers his volume. He slows his words. He pauses before replying. He doesn't throw blame. He asks questions. He sets the tone. And that terrifies people who are addicted to chaos. Because they can't escalate him. They can't provoke him. They can't pull him out of center. He doesn't win by overpowering others. He wins by mastering himself. Machiavelli once said, "A prince must learn how not to be good when the situation demands it." Translated emotionally, he knows when to be soft, when to be firm, and when to walk away in silence. He doesn't need a storm to feel alive. He doesn't need loudness to be heard. He brings peace. And those who thrive on dysfunction, they either rise to meet his level or they disappear. Either way, he doesn't lose. And there's more. Because once you no longer seek to control her or be controlled by her, your presence becomes different. In part 3, we'll look at how that presence becomes a safe space and a quiet power she can't resist. 5. He doesn't fear her feelings, he guides them. Previously, we talked about how true strength lies in staying calm amidst emotional storms. Now let's move into what may be the most disarming trait yet, The emotionally intelligent man doesn't run from a woman's intense feelings. He doesn't fear them. He doesn't get swept up in them. He guides them. Asterisk. That's when emotional intelligence becomes undeniable. You're dating someone new. She has a strong, even unpredictable personality. One moment she's warm, the next she's cold. She tests, she pushes. She throws emotional sparks to see if you burn. Most men would either avoid the confrontation entirely or react impulsively, matching her fire with more fire. But not you. You regulate. You hold your frame. You meet her eyes. You validate her without collapsing. You stay grounded. And slowly she starts to shift, because your calm becomes contagious. Your presence becomes anchoring. Instead of fueling the fire, you absorb it and redirect the energy with warmth and clarity. She's used to being the one who controls the emotional rhythm. But now she's facing a man who doesn't flinch at emotional storms. A man who can stand in the fire unshaken. That changes something in her. It's not fear that makes her pause. It's respect. Not the kind born from dominance or submission, but from strength. The kind of strength she can finally relax into. And here's what's truly ironic. She may try to control you, but what she ends up wanting is to surrender. Not to the man, but to the safety he brings. And yes, that scares her, because she can't manipulate it. But she wants it anyway. 6. He walks away without drama or regret, and now we arrive at the final, most powerful form of emotional intelligence. The ability to walk away, silently, with dignity. Without chaos. In a marriage, in a long-term relationship, even in something casual, there always comes a moment when things no longer align, where the connection no longer serves. Most people, in that moment, explode. They blame. They try to cling. They make a mess. But the emotionally intelligent man, he accepts reality. He grieves, quietly, privately, and then he moves. No door slamming, no emotional warfare, no winning the breakup. He exits with peace, with self-respect intact, and nothing terrifies a woman more than a man who can walk away and not look back, because that kind of man was never emotionally owned. He wasn't there out of desperation. He was there by choice. And once the energy changed, he chose to leave. That level of detachment isn't cold. It's evolved. It's conscious. It's powerful. It redefines what a truly dangerous man is. Not one who controls her, but one who is completely in control of himself. You don't need to raise your voice to be respected. You don't need to beg to be loved. And you definitely don't need to play games to be remembered. So now that we've reached the final trait, what happens next? You've learned how to carry calmness, control, and clarity. But what about the women who cross the line again and again? In the final segment, we'll explore the power of a mastered man. Because knowing your power is one thing, protecting it, that's the next level. In the last section, we uncovered the rare ability of a man to walk away with dignity, a level of control that few possess, but all respect. Now we reach the core of what makes that man not just unforgettable, but untouchable. What you truly need isn't noise or validation. You need stillness, a mind that you control, not one that controls you. A heart that you understand, not one that overwhelms you. A voice that speaks with calm clarity, not desperate noise. Because the moment you stop reacting to the world and start responding with intention, everything changes. When you learn to master your emotions without denying them, when you move with presence instead of panic, And when you speak with precision instead of trying to please, you become something rare, not loud but felt, not predictable but intentional, not cold but dangerous, in the most calm, centered, and deliberate way. And here's something no one ever says out loud. A man like that doesn't just walk into a room, he anchors it. He doesn't just attract attention, he awakens energy. He doesn't perform, his very presence demands respect. Women don't fear that kind of man because he's cruel or manipulative. They fear him and crave him because he evokes something real. Something they can't manufacture. Something they can't fake. Safety, challenge, warmth, boundaries, depth without chaos. That kind of presence doesn't just change relationships, it changes patterns. It interrupts emotional games. It makes people pause and confront what they've been avoiding, and that's rare, that's powerful, that's needed. So don't aim to be liked, don't aim to be chosen, aim to be grounded, aim to be clear, sharp, aware, alive. Be the man who watches more than he speaks, who listens not just to reply, but to truly understand, who protects his peace like a treasure and only shares it with those who prove they deserve it. You don't have to be perfect, but you must be disciplined. You must be patient, and you must be driven by something deeper than just attention. So take your time, build quietly, sharpen your mind, refine your values, master your energy. And then let the world adjust to your presence, not the other way around. Because a man who has truly mastered himself, he doesn't just survive, he reigns. If this message spoke to something inside you, don't let it stop here. Leave a comment, even just a few words. It might help you lock this in. It might inspire someone else. Hit that like button if this resonated. And if someone came to mind while watching this, share it with them. Sometimes, a man only needs one moment of truth to start his transformation. And before we close, get ready, because in the next video, we're diving into a topic that every grounded man must understand. 8 unacceptable female behaviors that smart men never tolerate. It's time to stop making excuses. It's time to protect your peace. And it's time to lead with clarity. Until then, stay sharp and build a mind that doesn't break.